Hi, this is Michael Riley, host of the Open Soul Podcast. This special edition was produced by students of our podcast guest training program in October 2024. This training is designed for anyone with little to no experience to become an interesting and engaging guest on any podcast, where you'll be able to inform, entertain, and self-promote after just a few in-person classes. If you would like information about attending one of our workshops in the Phoenix area, please shoot us an email, opensoulpodcast@gmail.com.
You're listening to the Open Soul Podcast.
This is Angela Shelby, and I am the guest host of the Open Soul Podcast. And for our special edition, we will be talking to Gary Smith. Hi, Gary.
Hey, how you doing, Angela?
I am doing really well. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, where do you live? What do you do?
I'm currently living in Peoria, Arizona. I lived in Ohio for all my life until last June, and then I was guided to go to Flagstaff, Arizona for the summer. And I do pranic healing, and I also do self-guided touch healing and hands-on healing or touch healing. So I lined up some fairs to go to in Phoenix and in the Tucson area, so I was able to make some connections, especially in Phoenix. That's why I ended up in Peoria, where I was guided to go.
So I'm gonna stop you right there.
Mm-hmm.
So you lived in Ohio, and you felt guided to just pick up and move to Flagstaff. Like, what the heck?
Well,
seriously? That is a leap of faith, man.
Well, I did it last year. I was guided to go to Mount Shasta for the summer, and I didn't think I was going to go back to Ohio to my education job. So it's kind of like a primer. It's kind of prepped me for coming out to Flagstaff.
Damn.
So
pick up, move across the country.
Yep.
Just do it.
So yeah, that's what came in at the end of June. It was once I made some connections here in Peoria, it's like, this is where I need to go. So that's when I resigned my position.
What were you doing before you up and left Ohio?
I had a special education background for about 28 years in Ohio. So I worked in various capacities, and I was out of the classroom for quite a while in working in different capacities in the special ed realm.
Okay, so you left your career of 28 years. You did this leap of faith to come and practice your pranic healing here in Arizona.
Yes. Yep.
Wow.
Just following my higher self, my inner guidance.
Now I really want to know about pranic healing, because that is quite the sacrifice, I would say, to do that. So what is pranic healing?
Pranic healing is a system developed by Master Choa Koksui. It's a touchless form of working with chakras and working with physical issues and mental emotional issues. So we actually have specific protocols that were developed by Master Choa that we implement. So we work on chakras, because chakras are related to different body parts, organs. So for specific protocols like sciatica, we're going to work on specific chakras and specific body parts, depending on where the pain and issues are. So every system of the body is covered. So I say cuts to cancer. So we have cancer protocols and tumor protocols, eye, ears, nose, and throat.
Wow.
So if you musculoskeletal, whatever, then we also, in the area that I would like to move into more is going to be the mental emotional aspect, trauma, depression, anxiety, addiction. That's where I'd like to kind of move into, because there is such a need for it.
Okay, so you said that there are specific protocols, and you're working with chakras, and chakras are energy centers, so this is like energy healing. This is a type of energy healing?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. Specific protocols, so like, what does that look like?
So we use colors. So certain colors have certain characteristics or certain principles. So depending on the chakras, they may be cleaned and energized with different colors, and depending on the severity of the issue. Mm-hmm. So that's going to depend on if it's going to be the upper chakras or the lower chakras.
Okay.
So we're not going to use necessarily the same colors. That's one foundational aspect of it.
So you use colors to help move energy. So what does a session look like?
Well, it all depends if someone has something specific. If they have a specific physical condition, so I'm going to, get my book and I'm going to look at the protocol and then, I'm going to see basically about how long it is, and then how many times a week. Some protocols it's going to be twice a week. Some are going to be 3 times a week. Sciatica, for example, because I was working on someone with sciatica the last couple of days. That's one of the few protocols in that realm where it's more of a physical nature, where I can work on someone for 2 or 3 days and work on them 2 or 3 times a day. So that for that specific thing, I worked on someone in Mount Shasta last year for cataracts, and that was 3 times a week. Because sometimes you have to let the energy settle.
Okay, so you're saying like 3 times a day. So does that mean someone comes to you 3 times a day?
No, it can be done remotely, and that's usually how I do a lot of my work, unless someone wants to meet, or if they want to do a Zoom, or if I'm at a fair, or healing fair, then I'm actually going to be there in person.
Okay. How long is a session?
It all depends on the protocol
Okay.
and what it's going to
All
call
right.
for. So typically, if I go to fairs, where I have what I call the tune-up, and so we're going to, with a lot of protocols, we're going to measure the chakras, and we're going to see if they're in alignment or not.
Okay.
Most of the time, people's lower chakras are going to be overactivated, so they have to be brought back into alignment. So like the front and back solar plexus, navel, sex chakra, and the root, or what we call the basic chakra, are overactivated. So we're gonna get those back into alignment. We'll measure and see if the person has cords to their chakras. So we're trained.
What are cords?
Cords are how we get attachments to people. So people tend to attach. Most of it's unconscious. Sometimes it is conscious, where they're trying to manipulate us. So mainly like the ajna between the forehead, because that's the CEO of chakras. So people trying to control us. Could be in the throat chakra. That's another form of control. Could be the solar plexus chakra, like an emotional thing. And obviously sex chakra, if someone thinks someone's, that they really like them.
Trying to get into somebody's pants. You
yeah.
can create cords. Okay.
So then we're trained to measure those cords and then actually cut them. And there's a couple, we do actually 2 different cuts. And then we have to send those energies to specific places.
Okay. So these are like energy cords. It's, like attachments. That's
That would be another way. So then the next step after that, after measuring the chakras, cutting cords, then the aura is what we consider has 5 lines front and back. So we'll seal the cracks front and back, and that keeps out negative entities and negative thought forms. And then we'll untangle the health rays, which allows negative energy to escape the aura, and then clean and energize the 11 major chakras. So that's what I call the tune-up, but that's what I mainly do at fairs. And then a lot of times I'll follow that up. The people that come to fairs, they want to follow that up with my self-guided touch healing that I was just gifted with in the last year, and I do hands-on healing.
okay.
That's kind of based on my study of the Essenes, which was the group that were kind of waiting for the Messiah to come in, or waiting for Yeshua or Jesus to come in.
Yes.
But they also prepared a lot of other people as well. Because that's kind of the origin, that's one of the first more public books in Pranic healing, is Your Hands Can Heal.
Yes.
That's one of the foundational books. So then there's like specific books for the classes that you learn.
Okay.
So so I'm like, well, if my hands can heal, so I started really investigating different forms of healing and kind of got hooked into these scenes.
I'm Angela Shelby, and we are here with Gary Smith learning about pranic healing. And you said you have your own touch healing modality that has recently come to you. And when you say come to you, I'm assuming downloaded by Spirit. Is that accurate?
That would be that would be an accurate way of describing that.
Okay. What does that look like?
So I'm sitting across, touching knees.
Oh, that's
with
interesting.
shoes off. And then so the client has their right hand on their high heart and left hand on top. And then they are setting the intention within themselves for any healing that they want. And it could be mental, emotional, physical. And they can set that intention for all of it. So once they have that set, then we look at each other in the eyes, and we do 3 breaths together. And then I ask them what their preferred, name for, God, Supreme Being, Divine Creator, whatever it is they like to use. So I'll ask them, Angela, do you accept this healing from the Divine Creator? Mm-hmm. You'd say yes. We do 1 more breath together. We're looking each other in the eyes. And then I say, let's begin. And then I just have them close their eyes, and I let them know when the healing session's over. It typically doesn't take all that long. And then afterwards, I'll then do the touch healing. So if it's a physical part of their body, I'll lay hands on that area of the body, and then or if it's a mental emotional, I'll put a hand on the high heart and a hand on the back of the neck at the base of the skull, and just ask for the healing to flow through me.
You dropped everything and your career and you came to do this. How has this affected your life? It must have changed your life, this practice. Otherwise, I can't imagine you doing such a drastic jump.
That's a good question, because once you learn the 3 basic classes in pranic healing, then you're eligible to go into their arhatic yoga practice, which is like a spiritual practice based on teachings that actually accelerates your path for your soul's development and spiritual development. So that is like a big reason why I am here where I'm at, and I've been in that program for 7 years, and there's different levels.
And so, what did it do for you? What did it personally do for you?
That's a very difficult question to answer. I can only kind of let you know, after the first week of doing the practice, I was different.
That is huge.
Like how I can describe that, I don't know how to put that into words, but it enabled me to develop a better relationship and understanding with my higher soul.
How would you say the place of spiritual wisdom has helped you since you moved here?
It's helped me tremendously because it gave me a landing spot. So that was one of the reasons why I knew that Peoria was a place for me to come here initially in the Phoenix area. So I was recommended to come here. Was welcomed with open arms. Everyone is friendly, and there's a lot of different classes here. And Barbara, who runs the shop, was very open to me working out of here and doing my healing work. And then it came to me to actually start a men's circle. So I have a men's group that's here every Monday at 7 p.m. So I'm going to be receiving some future training here in November and December on how that actually runs. I've been attending a men's group. It's based on neo-Jungian male archetype principles. So I'm going to be getting some more training in that area to more develop the class that I have here, the Place of Spiritual Wisdom.
We need a men's circle like the desert needs rain. So thank you. Thank you for doing that. And thank you for being here today and speaking with us. Just one last thing. What would you say to the community? What personal message do you have?
Know thyself, and your thoughts create your reality.
Very solid. Very good. So if people want to contact you, how do they do that?
I have a website, gratefulviolet.com, GRATEFUL, gratefulviolet.com, or you can contact the Place of Spiritual Wisdom. They have my business cards here.
Perfect. Gary, I really appreciate you taking the time from your very busy schedule to be here. Thank you for speaking with us today.
Thank you for having me, Angela. It's been a pleasure.
You're listening to the Open Soul Podcast.